make every...
This is a severe weather alert from your Arklama's Storm Team.
NBC 10 Fox 14 Chief Meteorologist Jared Floyd alongside meteorologist Brian Briggs in the NBC 10 Weather Center. A new tornado warning has just been issued for eastern sections of Lincoln Parish, southeastern sections of Union Parish, northwestern sections of Ouachita Parish, and far northeastern sections of Jackson Parish. National Weather Service Doppler radar indicating a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado east of Shudrin. We have been watching this storm closely. Our live storm tracker Doppler radar picking this storm up just now entering portions of eastern Lincoln Parish, and we're going to zoom in real close. In fact, our radar is going to have the best look at this storm. The National Weather Service in Shreveport's radar is probably hitting this storm at about 8,000 feet at this point. Our radar is probably hitting it closer to 300 or 400 feet. The reds and greens combining together in this general area now east of Shudrin, right along Interstate 20, and we'll be moving north of the interstate here shortly. Our radar will refresh every minute or so. There is our possible tornado. There's areas of rotation embedded here, but this is the area we're watching right here, right along Interstate 20, just west of the Ouachita-Lincoln Parish line. So you can see Highway 80 winds kind of parallel here. It will cross back over here in Calhoun on the right side of the screen. But here's Interstate 20. Here's our possible tornado. Again, moving northeast. This is northwestern sections of Ouachita Parish. This is southeastern Union Parish. Shudrin, Downsville's up here. This is a very similar area obviously a little bit farther southward than where our severe thunderstorm that produced a tornado near the Antioch community was just a couple of days ago. Obviously, this storm, again, is planted a little bit farther southward than that. I will switch back and forth between a few different radar modes, but we are going to stay on our radar, which will see this the best. Again, it's 6:43. Our Facebook Live viewers are joining us as well. New tornado warning. The severe weather threat overall has become much more disheveled and much more disorganized, but the areas of rotation, in fact, it looks like this area of rotation has kind of repositioned itself back out to the north and east with the latest radar swipe. But for folks in West Monroe, and theoretically our cone of silence for our radar, which is right here at the West Monroe studios, is just south of the interstate right here. So technically, if you live in and around the West Monroe studios, you are under this tornado warning. For folks farther northeast, there's now our inflow notch. Looks like the storm's kind of refocused its center a little bit farther to the north and east. So I'm going to actually zoom back in closely on this storm and take a closer look at the overall velocities. Again, as you look at the lower level scans, there's your reds and greens combined together. Brian, any word from the Weather Service on where if they've had any reports of visual confirmation of this tornado on the ground just yet?
At least not at this time. They just said it could be one of those things that's trying to evolve into more rotation, so they're watching it. Yeah,
you're seeing the reds and greens combined here rather efficiently, moving kind of between the triple point. This is Union Parish, Ouachita Parish, Lincoln Parish. So to kind of give a point of reference, here's Sibley Road, here is Williams Road, and you can see a lot of the Whitehead Road over here on the left side of your screen. Here's the Downsville community, here's Smyrna, Eureka, Frosttown, some of the smaller communities in western sections of Ouachita Parish. A lot of these aren't cities or towns, but they're neighborhoods or communities. And again, the Downsville area is the more highly populated area. Sibley Road here will be moving into western sections of Ouachita Parish. You can see the Wilhite community back behind me, but this is obviously a storm that has increased its tornadic potential, its rotation rather quickly, and we will continue to watch it as it makes its northeastward progress into southern sections of Union Parish. Again, these reds and greens right here are very, very concerning. In fact, I want to circle this briefly. And just to kind of, because to be honest with you, we're looking at this and having to survey the radar at the same time that we're on the air giving you this information. So we get a lot of this information as it's being delivered to you. And yeah, that's where your possible tornado would be. Again, trailing off to the northeast rather rapidly. This will generally stay in southern sections of Union Parish unless the storm were to reform its center again. But Brian, would you agree that's where our possible... And there's another area of rotation back out here to the south too. So we actually have two different areas where a possible tornado could develop.
Yeah, and it's, you know, one of those things that's going to be rain wrapped. So again, the sun's starting to go down, and that's a rather large area.
One here, one here. There's like you said, that's a large, elongated area of rotation, and it's not that it's elongated in that it's ragged or disorganized. It's just two very, very obvious areas of rotation on our radar. In fact, this area south of the Frosttown community is actually the more concerning area currently. Here's Calhoun. In fact, here is the exit, the second Calhoun exit, I believe, that crosses where Highway 80 crosses over I-20 and goes south. You can see Owens Road here. I believe that's J.T. Griggs Road, and Claiborne Road out here to the south and east. So we're getting into northwestern sections of Ouachita Parish, and in this general area, we have kind of a broad, an area, separate areas of rotation where a possible tornado could develop. If you are in the Indian Lakes area back behind me, that is Arkansas Road kind of extended going toward Farmerville on Arkansas Road. Indian Lakes is a subdivision out to the right. If you're in those areas, you are in this tornado warning. Interior portion of your home away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. In fact, on the left-hand side of the screen, here is Arkansas Road, Wilhite community. Here's Calvert Crossing and the Gulf community and the subdivision of Calvert Crossing here on the bottom right-hand side of the screen or the middle right-hand side of your screen. So this is the Calhoun area, if you will. In general, this storm should probably pass just to the north of Calhoun itself, but obviously still area of rotation, reds and greens, very, very conglomerated together, just kind of just pushed together there, showing that tight rotation, and obviously an area of concern moving into far northwestern sections of Ouachita Parish. And again, there's our possible tornado. Again, this has a little bit more of a supercellular structure as opposed to what we were dealing with some of the earlier storms. So kind of repositioning the radar. I'm going to stick with this one rather closely and to give a bird's eye view again, to look at the tornado warning till 7:30. So we've got another 45 minutes or so on this particular tornado warning. But clearly an area in far northwestern sections of Ouachita Parish. Here's Richardson Road, here's Claiborne Road, and again, the Calvert Crossing community. Here's Highway 592, and you can see Trace Estates and the Drew area, Drew Elementary School, and that general area, Strozier Road, a lot of those spots back behind me. So again, if you're in these areas and you hear some familiar roads, you want to be in your safe place. Here's the Eureka community, here's Smyrna, which is probably seeing some very heavy rainfall at this point, the Wilhite communities, all of this generally in that general drive from West Monroe to Farmerville if you decide to go that route. So if you have friends or family in that area, make a phone call. Let them know what's going on. Let them know that a possible tornado is headed their way. Switching back over to velocities mode just very quickly, and as I mentioned earlier, we're looking at this data and getting new data in as the radar makes its swipes. And again, these reds and greens right here, northwest of Carlton, here's Richardson Road and Claiborne Road and Calvert Crossing, just to kind of reset everything. Here is also Pleasant Valley and Frosttown. So you can kind of get a general vicinity. Here's Weems Road on the northern edge of the map. Here's our reds and greens and our possible tornado. Also still seeing an area of rotation a little bit farther northward. So the short-term concern is really anyone within this red box, which does include Sterlington. So if you're in northern sections of Ouachita Parish, keep an eye on this storm because it could kind of waffle back into the northern parts of the parish a little bit later on. But obviously, this is a storm that has continued to increase its overall strength and structure. The warning was issued probably 10 minutes ago, and we've been on since the warning was issued. But those strong reds and greens, to be honest with you, Brian, we may need to tilt the tower cam back out to the west, or maybe the west-northwest, and see if we can perhaps see a lowering out of our area. Now, again, with the overcast skies and the rain that we've seen, I doubt we'll see much, but that is your possible tornado. And that's a very strong signature, especially on our radar, that is hitting this thing probably at about 300 feet. That is low-level rotation west of Eureka, just east of Frosttown and Pleasant Valley. Again, not necessarily towns, but communities in northwestern sections of Ouachita Parish. Here's 552, Old Arkansas Road's back behind me, and that's your possible tornado moving into northwestern sections of Ouachita Parish. Radar's going to resweep. Still seeing the reds and greens combine together as it moves to the north and east. Still seeing areas of rotation farther northward. But overall, the most notable area is, what is this road right here? Oh, okay, that's I believe, is that Old Avant Road? And here's Malone
Osa
Road.
Avon?
Okay.
OSA?
And Nick Spiller's Road, Teton Road. Here's Malone Road, Miller Creek Road. So again, some of these roads get kind of tough to see on a monitor when you're zooming in this close. But there's our reds and greens, the bucket of spilled paint, if you will, that a lot of folks really just kind of look at and probably go, what are you trying to show us? And it's the twisting of the winds. The potential for a tornado exists in this area right here, moving to the north and east. 552, Wilhite communities, we've talked about you a lot. You are in the path of this storm. Make sure that you're in your interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Still seeing a rather unorthodox kind of nature of how this storm kind of winds its way through. Again, we're going to get a good look at this. Back behind me is our cone of silence. You can see the radar beam just sweeping. It's going to hit this storm every 60 seconds. So every minute, we're going to get a new look at velocity scans, the reflectivity, and the overall structure of this storm as it moves now into far southeastern sections of Union Parish. For folks in northern Ouachita Parish, you are still under this warning. I'm talking for folks in Frenchman's Bend, North Monroe, Sterlington, and that means the Frenchman's Bend community and points farther westward than that into far eastern sections of Union Parish. Keep an eye on this because it could kind of skirt right along the Ouachita-Union line. The storm motion is generally off to the north and east. So if you're in these areas, Brian, you could also maybe pull up the shear from our radar, the shear product from our radar, and that may also give us a decent overall kind of bird's eye view. Yeah, there's your reds and greens. I mean, we really don't even need it at this point. There's your possible tornado moving now into southeastern sections of Union Parish. Reds and greens like that on a radar at our level is pretty indicative of strong low-level rotation. Now, whether this is producing a tornado or not, we just don't have the eyeballs there to see it. But obviously concerning for folks along Highway 552, make a phone call now. Now's the time to do so. You'd never forgive yourself if something happened to somebody and you could have easily let them know what was going on. If they're in the Wilhite community, live along Highway 552, folks in Calvert Crossing or points even farther northward than that, give them a call and let them know that a tornado-warned storm with a possible tornado is moving right along the Ouachita and Union Parish line and will continue to move off to the north and east. Obviously, Lincoln Parish has been trimmed away. Parts of, I believe the parts of Jackson Parish, if they were in this warning. Go ahead.
National Weather Service says that possible tornado debris signature now showing up northwest Ouachita Parish. Okay,
so that's the ULM. Here it is. There's another area of rotation, too. So the National Weather Service in Shreveport is using the University of Louisiana Monroe's radar, which is a dual-pole radar. It can scan horizontally, vertically in the atmosphere. So it has some products that are available that are not available on our radar. And they're using that to confirm correlation coefficient returns that would indicate a confirmed tornado is on the ground. Now, we haven't confirmed it yet, but again, switching back and forth, there's another area of rotation. So, Brian, we really have two areas, one in northwestern Ouachita Parish, which is obviously the radar confirmed or possibly radar confirmed. Don't want to confirm it yet. National Weather Service hasn't done so. So, area here that are both going to move right up Highway 552. Brian's over at the weather pod, and let's see what kind of information he has for us. As you can again see, a pretty strong radar couplet will be moving toward the Wilhite and Point communities here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Brian?
Yeah, we tried to get a tower cam shot. It appears that tower cam is briefly offline, at least for the moment, but kind of watching the data continuing to trickle in here from the National Weather Service, and they're saying that possible area of possible lofted debris, at least on radar, is about 4 miles northwest of Calhoun. So that's kind of where they're looking at where this possible tornado could be. Okay, it looks like we do have a tower cam shot there. So there's our thunderstorm storm right there. You just saw a little bit of lightning showing up. And again, the possible area that we're watching here is about 4 miles northwest of Calhoun. So again, folks, if you're getting the warnings on your phone, I know all of our phones here at the studio went off when that warning was issued. You need to be in your tornado safe place, and especially for folks in around northwest Washita Parish, you folks need to be getting into your tornado safe place. Again, if that area of circulation that you see on your screen here, this is your community. You need to be in your tornado safe place immediately. Be calling up your friends and your family in this area and let them know that a dangerous storm is heading towards their area.
And looking at the latest radar scans, as you take a look at Lynx 1 on the full screen, here are the areas that we are going to kind of pinpoint out for you as we approach the 7 o'clock hour. For those that are just tuning in and grabbing a television, you're watching tornado warning coverage for parts of Union and Washita parishes. We're monitoring a possible tornado that has at times exhibited a radar debris signature. We have not confirmed this tornado on the ground, but we are obviously continuing to keep a close eye on this potential couplet as it moves into southern sections of Union Parish, and just kind of checking my watch as we get, again, this is a radar indicated tornado warning until 7:30, again, for Washita and Union parishes. So there is our possible tornado. For those that are watching us right now, and we know we're repeating ourselves, that's kind of the point, is for folks that are just getting in from ball practice or maybe just got the phone alert that alerted them that the tornado warning was in effect for their area, and maybe just getting to a TV. And a lot of folks will come and go. They'll tune in, they'll get the information they need, and they'll turn it back off. Some folks will stay for a little bit longer, but the most important thing right now is that people get information. Wilhite, Point, Rocky Branch, you folks have kind of gotten some rough weather with some of the Wall Lake areas back behind me as this tornado warning will refresh again. And still seeing those reds and greens. Looks like McLeod Road, right along Highway 52. So Point, Wilhite communities, 552 kind of winds its way back through here. Here's Jeff Tidwell Road. Again, these are relatively rural sections of Union Parish, but they are no less important than the rest of Union Parish. It doesn't matter if this is in Farmerville or if it's hitting in a relatively small and unpopulated area. Point and Wilhite communities do have a lot of folks that live south of the lake. Again, this is our area of rotation that has really shown the best organization and best potential tornado. I believe the National Weather Service had pegged it about 4 miles northwest
of Calhoun. Yep.
So yeah, this would be the general area. And again, to be more specific, we're talking right along Highway 52, just west. I would say no more than 4 miles west of the Wilhite community. So we switch from different radar mode to different radar mode because, as I mentioned earlier, our radar will get a different look about every 60 seconds as the storm makes its way now into southeastern sections of Union Parish. Also still seeing the reds and greens kind of buried back out over here in western or central sections of Union Parish. So as you bounce from radar mode to radar mode, that looks like just feedback on the back edge of this storm. So still watching the Wilhite community, 552 Point, Rocky Branch, and here's Rocky Branch Road. I want to zoom back out too to also kind of give everybody a better point of reference of where we are in north central Louisiana. Still have other storms back out to the west. Severe weather threat for folks much farther to the northwest has already ended. This activity is really immediately along the cold front as it advances eastward. It's thriving in an environment that is somewhat limited in its overall production of severe thunderstorms through the course of the day. But the tornado warning was issued really as the storm was approaching the Shudrint areas in eastern sections of Lincoln Parish and has continued to show very strong signs of rotation. We took a look at our tower cam. There was no way we were going to see anything from this storm. There's just too much cloud cover out there right now. So that's why we're not going back to that shot. It's just kind of pointless at this juncture. There's just not a lot for us to work with. But you zoom out and you can really see those reds and greens. We're getting into the real nitty-gritty of this storm when we zoom in this far, and we're trying to get extra super hyper specific. But the Point community and Rocky Branch, here's Acre Road, here's Rocky Branch Road, there's Rocky Branch. Here's our possible tornado it's moving northeast. So again, you folks in Point, Wilhite, Rocky Branch have gotten a solid 10 to 15, 20 minutes notice on this storm as it approaches your area. Safe place now. Interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors. Think lowest level. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Most folks in Louisiana and Arkansas don't have basements, so underground is not as readily available of an option. If you have a storm shelter, this is the time to use it. Overall, reds and greens are still combined together, still showing the rotation as it approaches Rocky Branch. I will say that the values are not as bold and bright, which indicates stronger winds. So that's slightly encouraging. And also, in general, the radar's refresher is actually recalibrating. So it's going to take it a few seconds, and then it'll resume, and you'll have the radar image will pop back up. So stick with us for a second. There it is. And really, the most important thing to keep in mind is the front will continue to push these off to the east rather quickly. So while the warning remains in effect for these areas, I just want to stress patience that these storms will clear your area somewhat quickly. We're waiting for the front to pass through, and with that, it brings an end to the severe weather threat. Looking almost
linear now.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking, is it looks more like a line of damaging wind potential in this area, but still clearly a dangerous storm, a warning that remains active from northwestern sections of Ouachita Parish. Again, a reminder, this storm could take a little bit of a right turn, so folks in Rocky Branch, but also Sterlington, need to keep an eye on the storm. You are under the tornado warning. You've received the alerts. You're under the warning. You remain there. So obviously, heed caution. Get off the roadways if you can. Be in a safe place. Brian, what's the latest from over at the pod?
Well, I guess no news is good news, as we really haven't gotten any updates from the National Weather Service, at least at this time. Again, a tornado warning goes into effect until about 7:30 tonight, and really just kind of hanging on to, well, it looks like western and northern portions of Ouachita Parish, southern and eastern portions of Union Parish, and maybe even extreme, yeah, it looks like mainly now Union and Ouachita Parish is included in this warning again. But just checking in with the National Weather Service from time to time, and at least right now things seem to be quiet, so that's good news. What we were kind of looking at earlier with this storm system was that things were kind of flattening out, but again, storms can cycle. We've seen this happen a couple times today already, where a storm, you know, there is still some broad rotation with the storm, but it can kind of cycle and spin up a new one. So again, what we're talking about, at least right now, the areas between Rocky Branch and Sterlington are the areas of concern that we need to keep an eye out on. We're going to zoom in a little bit more on this radar image. Again, here's our classic reflectivity with this. And our area that we're looking at is generally here, where I'm circling it on the map. So again, folks, just continue to take your tornado precautions until about 7:30, especially for northern areas of Ouachita Parish and southern areas of Union Parish. None of Morehouse Parish is included with this, so we're going to continue to keep an eye on that. But again, just kind of some of the communities that are maybe just outside the warning, Collinston, Bastrop, some of those areas, just be watching the storm. Again, this is kind of just your call to action. That danger storm is approaching your area. But again, this official tornado warning continues, and at least right now, as far as updates go, we're kind of staying quiet, at least for official updates.
Yeah, and as far as local storm reports, no observed reports from Union Parish or Ouachita Parish, no one saying they've seen a tornado, which is obviously encouraging. But the other thing to keep in mind as this storm moves east, Brian, if you don't mind, can you turn the hand tracker back on links 1? But the other big takeaway and the most important thing in the short term is that as these storms continue to move through, the cold front will advance through as well. So as you look at a storm like this, it's got winds out of the south and southeast that are feeding that warm, moist air into the storm. But as the cold front starts really steering all of this activity and accelerating it to the south and east, it disrupts a lot of the severe weather ingredients that are needed. It starts undercutting a lot of these storms, and they become either slightly elevated or some of them collapse. You know, that's all good signs. Those are things that we want to happen. But that also said, as the cold front moves through, a lot of it will also just form an immediate line, a full line.
We got an update to pass along. So it says there's a decent chance of a tornado on the ground now advancing across Ouachita Parish line into south central Union Parish. Although there is a network outage in northeast Louisiana not allowing us to see the radar date to confirm. So again, it sounds like there could be a potential tornado on the ground that's near the Ouachita Parish line into south central Union Parish.
Well, it would be right here. I mean, I don't think it's going to go farther southward than that. I don't think it's going to go any farther northward. It would have to be either this. And again, I'm kind of giving myself a lot of different looks, and I know I'm bouncing back and forth to a lot of different products. Yeah, there's nothing there. So it's really got to be in this area right here where, again, the returns and the reds and greens are very, very linear almost. There's not a lot of twisting within this line. But if you're in the warning, heed the warning. Go to your safe place. Wait this thing out. There's going to be some very heavy rain with it, and as we mentioned, the other kicker with this is we're moving into Union Parish where there's a lot of trees, and the elevation starts to fluctuate a little bit. So even our radar is going to run into problems just simply because there's stuff in the way, and so you can only see so much. That said, we're still going to have a decent look at this. Still seeing the reds and greens here, still seeing reds and greens here, and now we're starting to talk Sterlington. So here's Sterlington. The storm's moving to the north and east. You folks need to be in your safe place, interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And again, just kind of glancing, yeah, it would be this possible tornado. It would have to be right here in this general area on the kind of the bottom side of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and circle this area. And we're going to get real close on the roads again. It looks like it's going to pass generally just to the south of Rocky Branch. Again, Acre Road. Here is Chapman Road. And as I mentioned, back out to the southwest of us is Wall Lake, the Wall Lake community. Here's where a possible tornado would reside, somewhere in this general area here, probably just south of Rocky Branch Road, but we'll continue to move to the northeast. Again, our radar is going to get a new look every 60 seconds or so. And again, the reds and greens right there indicating the potential for a tornadic thunderstorm to produce either gusty winds or obviously the possibility of a tornado in these areas. Keeping an eye on just some updates from our newsroom. Our news director making some phone calls to Sterlington and those areas. Obviously, they haven't seen much yet because the storm's still about, I would say, another 10 or 15 minutes from them, but they're obviously already seeing rain and thunderstorm activity with this particular warned storm. So we'll keep an eye and continue to make phone calls in the surrounding areas. This generally looks to be now in southeastern sections of Union Parish. And will continue to move to the north and east, but could still impact far northern sections of Ouachita Parish as it makes that eastward progress. Too many reds and greens combining together here in really any general area, and that spot right there with that latest refresh is the concerning spot, and that would put it more in line toward the Sterlington area. For folks in Sterlington, you got hit by an EF3 tornado almost exactly a year ago. It was Easter Sunday last year, moved through the Sterlington High School area or just points west on the west side of 165. You've done this drill before, so you want to get in your safe place now. Again, underground if you can, but a lot of folks don't have storm shelters and underground safety things, so make sure that you're in the safe place and the interior portion of your home away from windows and doors. You start seeing some of the subdivisions, the Moon Lake Road behind me. Here's Highway 2 that comes out of Sterlington into Union Parish. So there is our possible tornado moving right toward Rocky Branch, and Chapman Road moving east out of Rocky Branch, John Hayes Road, just kind of some of the surrounding areas that we're trying to give you a point of reference on as the next radar swipe will take it farther east, and you can still see now that radar swipe not as clear as the last few have been, but obviously still a very, very dangerous storm. And I think also the proximity of this storm, where this storm is currently, also creates its own problems, Brian, in terms of trying to locate that low-level circulation. It's happening right at ground level. When you've got changes in elevation, trees, buildings, things like that, it can sometimes obscure some of that information, Brian.
Yeah, it looks like The Spencer community, or a little northwest, that's been the latest update, at least where that possible tornado would be, at least at this time. So again, that's kind of the latest update, at least from the National Weather Service. Again, they have an outage on their end, so it's hard for them to kind of see exactly what's going on. But our live storm tracker Doppler radar is pretty much right here. So we're getting a pretty good view of it here as it passes through Washtenaw Parish and parts of Union Parish as well.
Looks like they've actually, and we can go ahead and switch back over to links 2 or links 1. It looks like the downstream, we've had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for portions of Morehouse Parish. It looks like it stretches into Ashley County. So the National Weather Service in Jackson is going to kind of replace this tornado warning with a severe thunderstorm warning. Their assumption, or the overall assumption right now, is that this storm is perhaps going to lose its structure and its tornadic potential.
But they did put a tornado possible tag on it, just FYI.
So basically that's the National Weather Service's way of saying a tornado is possible, but it's not possible enough to issue a warning. Again, for those that are seeing a blank screen right now, our radar is in the middle of recalibrating, and instead of switching to a different radar mode, we're just going to wait for it to pop back up on the screen. It does it every 10 minutes just to ensure that it's getting the most accurate reading. So it's going to make another full swipe here. But folks in Sterlington, you are still under a tornado warning. We are still on the air because there is a tornado warning. If there's a warning on the air, if there's a warning in our area, we're going to stay on the air until either the warning is canceled or until that warning clears the warned storm clears the ArcLMS. So in general, this warning goes till 7:30. It may be canceled early, especially if the storm were to collapse. You're starting to see, and remember, you're in the middle of 2 different radar swipes here, but back out to the south and west, this looks more linear. This looks to be more of a damaging wind threat, but there are still little notches in here and there that could indicate possible inflow, which could allow for rotating embedded circulations. So I don't want folks to let their guard down if they're under the tornado warning and the warning is past them. You've got another line of very, very ugly thunderstorms headed your direction here in the next 30 minutes to an hour. So might as well just stay in your safe place, just kind of hang out for a little bit and get comfortable, because that next round of storms, while not severe here in the short term, is still somewhat concerning. Last radar swipe doesn't really provide a whole lot of significant insight in terms of velocities and where this possible tornado could be hiding, but obviously this area right here is the one spot that really indicates rotation, reds, greens together, and that's in the overall vicinity of where we've been watching that rotation as it's been moving through. So here's the Morehouse Parish line. That's where our severe thunderstorm warning will take over here soon. For those in north central Louisiana, really now southeastern sections of Union Parish, you folks in Sterlington need to keep an eye on this, especially in West Sterlington as it moves east. But the next radar swipe hopefully will give us a little bit more insight on this possible tornado. Yeah, there's still a lot of reds and greens combined there west of Sterlington, enough to be concerned. Just west of Highway 2. Highway 2 kind of runs up and to the west and to the south. Here's the Spencer community. As Brian was just mentioning, the Weather Service was talking about them as a kind of a possible area for this tornado. And so there's our possible tornado. State Highway 2. Just to the northwest of Sterlington. You can see Ouachita City and the Desert community. Here's the Klein community. Again, a lot of these aren't highly populated areas or cities per se, but they are communities and neighborhoods, and so we'll try to name as many of those as possible. We'll step out the way for just a second and kind of check on some other radar products off screen. But Brian, in general, this is, again, a storm that has had its limitations at times, but obviously still very dangerous, and for folks that are in the warning, they need to heed that warning and be inside.
Absolutely, and I mean, it is getting to the point of the night too where the sun's starting to go down, things are getting dark. So folks, if you're wanting to maybe see it, please don't. It's a very, very dangerous storm. It would be rain wrapped nonetheless, so you won't be able to see anything anyway. And again, this official tornado warning continues till about 7:30, although as you can see, we do have that new downstream warning that was issued for portions of Morehouse Parish that even continues into parts of Ashley County. County here into southern Arkansas. So again, it looks like this storm will continue to be on the stronger side. And it did have a tornado possible tag on it. So as it continues to push towards the northeast, that's where that area of concern will go. But at least in the short term, we're kind of getting into southern and eastern portions of Union Parish, northern portions of Ouachita Parish. And again, there's Sterlington, there's that area that we were talking about here. And again, there's where that possible tornado would be. So again, folks in the Spencer community, this is where that possible hook echo would be with this storm system. You need to be in your tornado safe place. Eventually, this area of rotation will outrun this tornado warning. So again, we're going to continue to stay on air as long as it's in effect. But it looks, at least at the time, that the main area of circulation that we're watching here should stay north of Sterlington. But with that being said, folks should just continue to be careful and ride it out here for a little bit longer. Stay in your tornado safe place as this dangerous storm continues to pass through. So.
Obviously, continue to keep an eye on that area of circulation as it moves in. You can see the radar behind me with the 2 flashing warnings. We're already getting folks that are emailing and calling because we're in the middle of programming, saying if they wanted to watch the weather, they would turn it to another channel. Let me explain it to you. As long as there is a warning in effect for our area, we're going to be on TV. Because if it was your area that was under a tornado warning right now, you would want us on the air informing you. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to stay on the television. And we've warned folks that, yes, programming is being interrupted, and it stinks. And you know what? We can watch that tomorrow. But we've had this same area just get hit by an EF1 tornado about a week and a half ago. It's April in the Arklamass. This is what happens. So we're going to stay on the air, and we're going to continue to deliver all this information. And when the warning is discontinued, or if it cancels at 7:30, then we're going to send you your programming then. And yes, you're going to have missed half a show. That's how we do things. We have an FCC obligation to get this information to as many people as is physically possible, and this is the best way we know how to do it. We're not a Facebook station, we're a television station. So we're going to stay on the air, and yes, we're going to lose viewers over it. And right now, to be honest with you, I don't care. So that's the #1 thing. That's our #1 priority. That's our job. So that being said, we're going to stay on the air right here, and let's get back to this tornado-warned storm, which again, the National Weather Service has said at times that circulation has kind of come in and out. If that warning continues to move east into this severe thunderstorm warning area, clearly we're going to have to keep an eye on any additional warnings that may be issued downstream. If it doesn't, then clearly the severe thunderstorm warning will be sufficient for damaging wind potential and hail potential in these areas. So again, the warning is in a very, very obscure, tough spot. That's why the warning remains in effect, although the warning is, the possible tornado is in an area where rotation is very, very difficult to detect. So again, this is a very dangerous storm, including very heavy rainfall in a very volatile atmosphere that still has a lot of strong inflow at times and still has the ingredients to produce a tornado. So that's what we want to stress to folks. Let's go back over to Links 1 real quick. Brian, I'll step out there for a second. And like I said, this overall circulation is not overly impressive at this short term, but clearly still watching for any areas that could peek back out just to the west of Sterlington. If you're in that area, you want to be in your safe place. Like Brian mentioned earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if Sterlington in general, there's our rotation kind of peeking back out, and I'm worried that this is either feedback or this is a very, very vigorous area of rotation on the far eastern edge of Union Parish. That is a very concerning spot. I'm hoping it's almost radar feedback, if you will, and this next swipe may confirm one way or the other. But I wouldn't be surprised if this tornado warning may need to be extended into western sections of Morehouse Parish. Yeah, Brian, like I said, that's reds and greens very clustered together in an area just north of Sterlington, an area that was hit by a tornado almost exactly a year ago, an EF3 in this area. It was a very violent tornado, and a lot of folks remember that from Easter Sunday of last year. So there's our notch of possible rotation. We'll continue to trail off to the north and east for folks in Bastrop and points westward. We're going to have to keep an eye on that too. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, especially for the heavy rainfall, maybe some gusty winds and hail that's in the western parts of Morehouse Parish. But this storm will continue to move, and that brings that tornado potential into an area where there's already a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. I want to go ahead and let this radar do one more swipe. Again, this warning goes till 7:30. If this warning's discontinued at 7:30, you're back to regularly scheduled programming. But if there's a warning that stays on with it, we're going to stay on with it too. Latest swipe carries that possible tornado right to the Morehouse Parish line. Still see a lot of jumbled reds and greens there as it crosses into Morehouse Parish. So that's kind of the question now, is whether the severe thunderstorm warning is sufficient for these areas in western Morehouse Parish. So for folks that are in Sterlington, stay in your safe place. This little appendage here is not very concerning right now, but I don't want to take a chance of anything back out here to the west. Nothing tornadic, but still some heavy rainfall, some cloud-to-ground lightning, and some concerning issues there. With 10 minutes left to go on this, we also still have a tornado watch remains in effect till 8. Whether that's extended because of some of these new developments, we'll just kind of have to wait and see. The overall storm structures were looking pretty puny about an hour ago, and we were pretty optimistic that we wouldn't have to be on air with you right now. But unfortunately, Mother Nature's had second thoughts and has brought another very active tornadic thunderstorm, or potentially tornadic thunderstorm, that has a history of producing almost a radar-confirmed tornado. I don't know if we ever officially confirmed it on radar, but again, still had some very strong signs. You see the reds and greens there together, still very uncertain about the overall impacts in these regions, but as you move from Bastrop and points westward, please be in your safe place. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, but the tornado warning remains in effect for eastern sections of Union Parish. Got about another 9 minutes left on this tornado warning. May need to be canceled early because the storm may actually move out of Ouachita Parish, but we still have to wait for full confirmation. Again, radar's in a really tough spot here. Go ahead.
Actually, just to build on what you're saying, they are going to let the tornado warning continue until 7:30. They just want to be, they want to be 100% confident that it's moved into Morehouse Parish. So the warning will stay until 7:30.
All right, so we will ride with this tornado warning until 7:30 this evening. I want to step out of the way just for a second. If someone could bring me a new 9-volt battery for the IFB pack, that'd be great. But like I said, the warnings will stay till 7:30, so we're going to stay with you till 7:30 as well. If you want to stay tuned to more information in terms of severe weather after we leave programming, we will continue to provide more social media updates and things like that. But again, as long as this warning's in effect, we're going to have to stay on the air with it. And really, I think folks in the far western edge of that tornado warning, you want to stay inside because there's a lot of lightning and thunder and heavy rainfall. But I think the tornadic part obviously is right along the Ouachita River in the easternmost sections of the easternmost sections of Union Parish at this point.
Yeah, and eventually that area of concern that we've been talking about here will eventually outrun this warning box here and move into Morehouse Parish. The National Weather Service just wants to keep the warning going just out of an abundance of caution. They do have an outage on their end, so it's hard for them. It's
getting dark and hard to hear, hard to see too.
Yeah, so they're having, they want to be on the air on the side of caution, make sure that people are getting that warning as the storm continues to shift into Morehouse Parish. But eventually it will be shifting into a severe thunderstorm warning as opposed to a tornado warning. So again, we have about 7 minutes left on this warning officially here. And again, the area of rotation or concern is now kind of right on the edges of these two warning boxes right here, mainly north of Sterlington. But as Jared was mentioning, it's just a large swath of heavy rainfall, lightning, and thunder.
It's a mess. I mean, let's be honest, and let's call it what it is. It is very difficult to pinpoint a tornado in an area that was tornadic. Cold fronts coming in and picking up this storm as well and carrying it to the east. This is a really, really complicated area. That's another reason why we don't want to go back to programming or just say, well, the warning looks like it's about to be canceled. It's just such a complex makeup of storm mode and storm motion. There's just so much going on here. And to be honest with you, even with all the best technology, Ryan right now is looking at this storm at 800 feet. And it's still so convoluted and messy that we just don't really know what's happening. So obviously heavy rain's going to be an issue. There's plenty of lightning, although the lightning's kind of slacked off too. But this is still a very dangerous storm, and we don't really know what to expect in terms of gusty winds, in terms of hail size. I would say hail size is probably going to be less than severe at this point, less than quarter size, but some gusty winds are still very much possible in the strongest parts of that storm as it enters western Morehouse Parish.
And this is kind of what Jared was talking about. You know, we got a lot of areas now that are kind of popping up with reds and greens, and at least kind of where we're estimating this area of rotation would be just to the northeast of Sterlington, at least at this time. Now kind of getting back into more rural areas of extreme southwestern portions of Morehouse Parish. But I would say if this is the area of concern that we're watching, now it's officially kind of out of the tornado warning and moving into Bastrop. Folks in Bastrop, probably wouldn't hurt getting to your tornado safe place at this time. Bastrop, Marouge, some of the communities here, at the very least, if a tornado is not in progress, well, could have some damaging straight line winds here. So again, folks, dangerous storm nonetheless, and with it being dark, makes it that much more dangerous. Again, we're going to be staying on the air with you till about 7:30. Again, National Weather Service is keeping the warning out of an abundance of caution as this area of storms continues to push through. But as you can see with each scan, it doesn't necessarily go away. So something that we're keeping an eye out on here. And again, folks in Bastrop and Marouge really need to be kind of watching as this potential area of rotation, damaging winds, so be it, moves into this area. So again, a tornado warning remains in effect until 7:30, and that's when we will send you back to your regularly scheduled programming at 7:30. But again, we're going to be staying on the air with you until then, and we're just going to continue to watch this. But we do have a pretty good look at it, considering that this area of rotation really is kind of right down the road from our live storm tracker Doppler radar. So,
hey, Brian, if we could go back over to the pod real quick, and we could pop up links to in the system behind me. There's not a lot going on behind these storms. We've got this storm and another one generally back out to the south. This is the one lone real strong severe threat, at least here in the short term. Cold fronts advancing in. Severe weather threats already ended for areas in like El Dorado, and if y'all want to recenter the camera, that's fine too. But like I said, El Dorado points farther north and west. Your severe weather threat has already ended for the night. In fact, I would expect a new tornado watch to be issued to kind of include some surrounding areas, especially farther east. But for you folks in El Dorado, Magnolia, Minden, back toward Homer, the cold front's already advanced through your area. The severe weather threat's really going to end rather abruptly for a lot of these areas, and skies are already starting to clear back out to the north and west. So that's obviously a little bit of good news. But as this storm, as the cold front continues to press to the south and east, the storms themselves are trickling north and east. So while the overall storm motion is to the north and east, cold front's advancing to the east and will continue to push a lot of this, and as we mentioned, undercut it, at least here in the short term, and really squash the severe weather threat rather rapidly as we work into the late night hours tonight. We've got about a minute and a half left on this tornado warning, and then hopefully with no additional downstream tornado warning, our Facebook Live will wrap. We may do another one, but you'll have to refresh on that tornado, on that Facebook Live. We may do another one just kind of touring the radar and giving more updates to folks that want to get back to their programming. So that's something that we may be doing here in the short term, just depending on how this storm really behaves in the next 90 seconds or so. And with every radar scan, it's something different. So again, tornado warning ending in eastern sections of Union Parish. In fact, Cody, if you want to take this full, that's fine. But portions of Morehouse Parish still under a severe thunderstorm warning. This also extends into Ashley County, Arkansas. If you're in these areas, I would treat this as a tornado warning. But at this point, in fact, I want to take a closer look. I'd say probably
more damaging winds.
Yep, this right here is all a damaging wind signature, this little backward C, if you will. So maybe not seeing the rotation that we once had, maybe now more or less seeing kind of a bowing segment on those areas.
New tornado warning.
And there's the new tornado warning. So we will go ahead and stay on air with you
until 8:15.
This will be this is a new severe thunderstorm warning. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Bastrop, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. This is going to be just west of Bastrop, the way I see it right now, and we'll be moving toward Bastrop here shortly. So we can go back over to Lynx 1 and take a closer look at this storm. This is, again, the velocities mode as it sits right now on our live storm tracker Doppler radar. The National Weather Service in Jackson has upgraded this to a tornado warning. We had a severe thunderstorm warning at one point. Now it is a tornado warning as the storm has entered into western sections of Morehouse Parish. If you're in Bastrop, if you're in Collinston, if you're in Marouge, and points north and east of that, 425 and 165, all the way into southeastern sections of Ashley County. Safe place now. Interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. This tornado warning goes until 8:15 for obviously the areas within this flashing red box. The severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect as well. Brian, just kind of man the chat server. We'll keep an eye out from the National Weather Service in Jackson as we kind of switch jurisdictions, if you will, from our National Weather Service offices in Shreveport as this storm kind of moves out of their area. Area of rotation right here, and in fact, I'm going to back off the screen for just a second. And before I do that, I want to go ahead and leave us on a regular radar image because I'm going to probably, I'm going to let this radar scan one more time, but we may need to switch over to a different volume and coverage pattern to see some of these stronger winds closer to the surface. And we got possible tornadic activity just to the west of Bastrop. I would say just to the northwest of Bastrop and carry northeast. All right, Collinston's not in the tornado warning. My apologies, but Marouge, you are. Bonita, you are. And most of the northern half of Morehouse Parish are also under this new tornado warning that goes until 8:15. Radar is obviously calibrating. Like I said, does this every 10 minutes or so, so you're about to get a new image on the screen. It just does that to basically check to make sure that the radar is in proper working order and things like that. But again, possible tornado now west of Bastrop, moving to the northeast, and going to switch over and try to take a closer look on the screen right now. But looking at shear values, we haven't really looked at that lately, but our radar can give you some of those shear values that we talk about sometimes, the shear rate. And there's a look at the shear rate west of Bastrop in this area right here. That would be our possible tornado. So again, I overlay that with velocities. See, those don't jive together. So again, we're in a really, really weird spot where a tornado is going to be extremely difficult to see, even with all the tools that we have. I mean, sometimes you're going to run into a storm that is in a very obscured area. This is going to be east of 165. Folks in Bastrop and Marouge need to be in their safe place now. Interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. For those that were joining us tonight, hoping to see your primetime programming, we were really hoping you would see that too. But unfortunately, as long as this warning is out and as long as a tornado warning is issued in the ArkLaMiss, we're going to stay on the air. It's not only the company policy, it's the station policy, it's my policy. And we're going to continue to provide the information for folks in Bastrop, Marouge, Collinston, Wilmot, into southeastern sections of Ashley County. If this warning is canceled early, if the storm falls apart, no longer looks like it is capable of producing a tornado, we'll send you back to your programming early, and we hope to do that. We don't like doing this any more than you want to see us. I can guarantee you of that, but we don't like knowing that folks are in danger in Morehouse Parish. These reds and greens, again, not really telling us much, but still a very messy overall radar depiction in this area, and I'm going to go ahead and do what I said I was going to do earlier. Brian, you could go back over to the pod and like I said, update folks on what they may see.
Yeah, just checked in with the National Weather Service in Jackson once again, and at least right now, no real updates to pass along at this time. And again, that warning still mainly concentrated for Morehouse Parish and those communities that Jared was just talking about with Bastrop and Marouge. You folks need to be in your tornado safe place immediately. If you know folks that live in Bastrop, Marouge, let them know, hey, you can send a text message, give them a phone call. It could be the extra few seconds to a couple minutes that they need to take shelter. So again, don't be afraid to call them up. Again, it's dark, folks. Don't try to go outside. Don't try to check out what's going on. You're not going to be able to see it. It's going to be rain wrapped anyway. So dangerous storm. This tornado warning does go into effect till 8:15. And at least right now, what you're seeing on your screen is that area of rotation mainly generally focused on the extreme southwestern portions of the warning. So I'm going to kind of circle it here. Again, radar is just updating, but until it comes back. You can see generally these areas between Bastrop and Sterlington. Remember, Sterlington's not covered in it, but again, that stretch of 165 too between Sterlington and Bastrop, this dangerous storm is passing over that. So if you know folks traveling through that section of 165, let them know, or even kind of heading south from 425 down through 165. Probably wouldn't hurt to maybe call them and make sure that they're okay. Hopefully they know that a dangerous storm is coming in. But we're checking in with the National Weather Service periodically to see if we have any updates, and again, we'll keep you updated on that.
All right, thanks, Brian. And the radar, I just switched to radar mode, so you're seeing the first swipe of a new radar mode, trying to get to some of these stronger winds that we're seeing along 165. Our radar will have certain amounts of power that can survey certain wind gusts. But as those wind gusts get stronger, you kind of have to switch radar modes so you can see, get a better look at some of the activity, and also the potential stronger winds of rotation that could be indicating a possible tornado. Go ahead, Cody. Okay, our Facebook Live apparently had crashed at some point, so we're rejoining those viewers now. Here's our possible tornado as it stands from this particular radar swipe to the northwest of Bastrop, and I don't want to be overly specific here because it now looks like it's almost like a bookend vortex on the northern edge of. This is a really, really weird area, but it's that possible tornado right there. But like I said, I think the velocity change gave us a better look at this possible tornado now north of Bastrop. Will be generally staying just north of Marouge if it continues on its overall same track as it sits right now. There's also this weird area right here, but again, I don't think that's our #1 concern. I think this area right here is, and again, we'll trail off to the northeast. Here's Bonita. You folks need to be in your safe place. Marouge, safe place just in case, and interior portion of your home. Underground if you can. I know a lot of folks don't have storm shelters and basements and things like that here in the ArkLaMiss, but interior portion of your home, interior bathroom, closet, not as many windows, and try to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Tornado watch remains in effect till 8. Still have no word on whether that will be extended locally or if there is going to be a new watch. To be honest with you, we really haven't been focused on tornado watches while a tornado warning is in effect in these areas.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any updates either regarding that.
And still seeing a lot of inflow into these storms, although they are more closer proximity to the front. Not saying any of these could immediately become tornadic, but they are concerning and still bringing some heavy rainfall, and the conditions are favorable for tornadic activity in some of these areas, at least here in the short term, over the next few hours. So that's the #1 goal, is to try to keep people as alerted as possible. Our reds and greens combining together there north of Bastrop, but looking a little bit better structured here in the last pass. This is the area we're talking about right here, and I'm going to zoom in real close on it. That's Crossett Road. Here's the log cabin community. We haven't seen them because they didn't pop up on the map, but this is log cabin. Here's 165 moving out of log cabin. Actually, I believe it's 425 that's moving out of log cabin. And so if you're in these areas, here's Shelton Road, Wardville Road, and the Copper Lake Road area. Here's our reds and greens, our possible tornado that we have indicated near the Shelton community, and also Cooper Lake Road, also back behind me, Sisson Road, some of those surrounding areas. And so that's probably the best circulation we've seen out of this storm so far, and it's sitting right over log cabin.
They just trimmed the warning down, by the way, which you probably can see. That literally gets right up to log cabin.
Yeah, so there's your possible tornado sitting right over log cabin currently, and that radar, changing the radar velocities really kind of pointed that out and made it much clearer.
Just a heads up too, this storm is moving northeast at about 55 miles per hour,
very
so
quickly.
It's a very fast moving storm.
In fact, let's see what we can do with that. It is, like I said, northeast at 55, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's your possible tornado. Northeast, there we go, at 55. Bonita and Wilmot are really the only areas that are being picked up by the storm tracker. There's small other communities in here, but Bonita at 753, Wilmot at 804. If we were to continue on this general storm pace, it may speed up, may slow down, but that's where it stands right now for folks in far northern sections of Morehouse Parish and into far southeastern sections of Ashley County and Arkansas. So here again, 425 is Crossett Road. here's Log Cabin, here's our possible tornado. We'll move northeast. The Cooper Lake Road area, if you know friends and family in this general vicinity, make a phone call. Let them know what's going on. Interior portion of your home away from windows and doors. I want to step out of the way just briefly so we can see these areas that are going to be impacted out ahead of the storm. And in fact, I probably should have been on this part of the wall the entire time. So you can see Log Cabin and points farther eastward, the Stampley community, the Galleon community in northeastern sections of Morehouse Parish. And like I said, I'm going to switch back and forth between a few different radar modes and just kind of keep an eye on not only this particular area of rotation, but also some other areas that have at times shown possible rotation. So again, if you're in these overall areas of Morehouse Parish, we don't want to be overly specific at this point and say, you know, for folks that are in the warning, that are in the clear, that's just not safe. For folks in Bastrop, you're now out of the warning. So while some gusty winds and some heavy rain will be possible, a tornado is not imminent in Bastrop. And like I said, you're not even under the warning right now. This possible warning is now northwest of Marouge and headed towards Bonita. We'll cross 165 eventually later on in the storm cycle, because I believe 165 jets up through Bonita here. So if you're in these areas, again, interior portion of your home away from windows and doors, 425. This storm's already kind of crossed 425. Here's Galleon and Stampley. Here's Twin Oaks. And again, the storm itself has already kind of cleared Log Cabin. So there's our possible tornado. And with the new radar swipes, this is in a very tough area for a lot of radars. The National Weather Service in Jackson's trying to pick this up on their radar. And, they're also using ULM, University of Louisiana Monroe's radar, which is on the east side of town, kind of out just past the Lakeshore community and eastern sections of Ouachita Parish. So it should get a pretty good look at this storm. But again,
okay. We have a possible, a TDS is being noticed just east of Shelton's in northeast of Bastrop. So that's per National Weather Service in Jackson.
That's right where we are right now, is the northeast of Bastrop, and a TDS again means a tornado debris signature, meaning that a tornado was on the ground at one point. It may have lifted, but it has lofted tornado debris into the air. So I'm going to step off screen for just a second. Cody, you can hold us right here on links 1 because I won't be very long off the screen.
Yeah.
But
now National Weather Service is confirming a tornado. It was located near Galleon or 9 miles northeast of Bastrop, moving east at 45 miles per hour. So,
so a lot of folks will join us now and go, what does that mean? What does a radar confirmed tornado mean? That basically means that there has been enough of an indicator on radar to confirm a tornado debris signature, indicating that a tornado was at least on the ground at one point. Now, there is your tornado debris signature. It's very, very faint because, again, this is the National Weather Service in Jackson's radar, and it's hitting this storm at about 10,000 feet. I'll switch over to the Shreveport radar, and you can't see anything. But, again, I want to stress for folks that our radar is probably getting the best look at this as it moves into Morehouse Parish. And I am going through a lot of different radar modes. Just bear with me. When radar confirmed tornadoes are on the ground, it does kind of up the ante, so to speak. There are a lot of tornado warnings in the ArkLaMiss that never yield tornadoes. And for a lot of folks, this is why folks get so ticked off when we cut into their programming, because a lot of times warnings don't yield tornadoes. Well, today it has. This is a radar confirmed tornado northeast of Bastrop, this general area here north of Marouge, and we'll be crossing, I believe this is the Stampley area. Here's the Wilmot Highway. So this is 165, correct? And we'll continue to move up toward Bonita. Like I said, our road labels for some reason have, there it is. Yeah, there's our road label. Here's 165. I knew the Wilmot Highway was that. So, so here is your possible tornado. We'll be crossing 165 between Marouge and Bonita. Near Galleon, and that's obviously where the Weather Service said it was, just west of Galleon or near Galleon.
Yeah, it's near Galleon. Yep.
So yeah, so possible tornado here, moving to the north and east. This is a very, again, kind of shrouded, tough area to see a possible tornado. This is not possible. This is radar confirmed at this point. That means the radar has detected that debris has been lofted into the air. Something has to cause that debris, folks, and it's going to be a tornado at this point. So please heed this warning. Please be in your safe place. It goes till 8:15. We got another half hour on this, and it's going to impact Bonita, 165 southwest of Bonita. If you have friends or family.
Okay, now National Weather Service says possible tornado tracking south of Old Bonita Road coming up to Cooper Lake Road.
Yep, that's exactly where we are. So, Old Bonita Road, there's Cooper Lake. Cooper Lake winds right through here. There's our possible tornado. So again, we've been kind of pointing this out for the past 3 or 4 minutes, and really since we got the better look at radar, there it is, Cooper Lake Road. Moving east, here's Bernie Turner Road, here's the Galleon community, here's Wilmont Highway, it's 165, off to the east. So this is no more than, Brian, what, mile and a half?
Yeah, not much.
This is not the right tool, but it's probably no more than like I said, a mile and a half from 165 at this point.
About
1.9 miles, so not very far. Probably in the next radar swipe, it'll be knocking on the door of Highway 165. If you are on 165 right now and you're going, what do I do? Or you're on the phone with somebody and they don't know what to do, I'll be honest with you. There's not a lot of convenience stores and grocery stores and things like that in this general area for them to pull over into and seek shelter. Last case, last ditch resort, and that's not a pun by any stretch, is a ditch or a culvert. Pull your car over on the side of the road, lay flat in the ditch, cover your head from debris. Don't try to find an overpass or anything like that, which I don't think there's a lot of overpasses in these general areas either along 165. But don't get under any kind of bridge or things like that. It's just not going to protect you, especially from what the storm is blowing around. So pull over on the side of the road. Like I said, find a sturdy structure. If there is a gas station or a grocery store or a convenience store where people will let you in, just wait this storm out. Again, our last radar sweep has really kind of lost this area, but it was right along Cooper Lake Road. It's still here. Again, it's just moving into an obscured area. As it crawls to the north and east, Twin Oaks, here's the Dummy Line Road. I've noticed and called that out before. Again, 165 is your point of reference, and here's Bonita. This is, again, a tornado observed. This is an observed tornado headed toward Bonita here in the next, there's our tornado right here, the reds and greens combining together. And I want to switch back over. We've been on this radar mode for a little while, and I don't want folks to get too bent out of shape. There's our possible tornado right there. It's 7:47 at night, and I know we're tearing through a lot of very popular programming. There's going to be a lot of angry emails, and we're going to lose a lot of viewers, and that's fine, to be honest with you. But this is a confirmed tornado on the ground. The radar has confirmed that in the last 10 minutes there was a tornado on the ground with this storm, and we'll be moving. The bold line right here is 165. Here's Bonita. There's our possible tornado moving north and east. In fact, it's going to probably almost run parallel to 165 for a brief period if it continues this overall storm motion. So interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors, still seeing some very heavy rain and rain out ahead of this possible tornado. Please don't go out and try to see this. Please just be in your safe place and protect yourself from potential debris. This storm has had a debris signature with it, which means that it has lofted, the storm has hit something, whether it's structural, whether it's just trees, and it has lofted some of that into the air, whether it's tree branches or tree trunks or parts of roofs or structures. We hope that's not the case, but obviously it is certainly possible. So now east of Sisson Road, here's Sun Olive Road, and the Bally Store Road, and again 165. Here's your possible tornado crossing 165 just to the north of Galleon. Still have some other areas of rotation in and around Bonita, and I really want to get off this radar mode for just a second, because again, the velocities mode's really, a lot of folks don't know what they're seeing here, and it is a very confusing radar mode to look at. So yeah, zooming back out, as this storm will be moving into southeastern sections of Ashley County. here in the next little bit. Brian, I'll send things over to you just to see what the latest is from the National Weather Service and kind of switch spots here with you for a few seconds.
So yeah, if you're just joining us right now, again, we do have an active tornado warning in effect for a good chunk of Morehouse Parish, and it also continues up into Ashley County, southern Arkansas. So this warning officially out till about 8:15 tonight. Area of circulation that we've been tracking here is now getting very close, if not passing over Highway 165 at this time. We were kind of talking about the speed at which the storm was moving, and it's been fluctuating anywhere from about 45 to 55 miles per hour. So that's very, very quick, folks. And area of rotation that we're watching generally in this vicinity here. It's kind of in a weird spot, as Jared mentioned, as far as not only is it in a radar hole for National Weather Service Shreveport and Jackson, but kind of getting out into the area for us. But generally, this is our conventional radar, and this is that area of possible, or where at least the National Weather Service in Jackson was saying a confirmed tornado was ongoing at one point here. And again, we've been kind of talking, Bonita is one of the more highly populated communities in this area. So again, hopefully folks in Bonita have been in their tornado safe place. Between Galleon and Bonita on Highway 165, that's where that area of circulation would be as well. Do you have an update to pass along?
No, I was just kind of agreeing with you out loud and forgot my microphone was on. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that this will generally move parallel, almost parallel briefly to 165 as it approaches Bonita.
But yeah, but again, a dangerous storm. If you know folks that are traveling on 165, if you know that they were traveling in this vicinity, not only just between Bonita and Galleon, but if they were coming in from southern Arkansas or even coming up from Monroe or something like that. If you know folks traveling, just give them a call and make sure that they're okay. And again, this is not one of the best places to take shelter if you're driving, considering it's kind of in a more rural area.
It's a tough spot.
So yeah, it's a tough spot. But again, folks, we're going to be staying on air with you as long as possible as this warning continues. And again, it's just tricky to see. It's tricky to see not only on our end, but it will be tricky to see on your end as well. The sun going down and a lot of precipitation falling within the system. You are not wanting to go outside and look at this. You're not going to be able to see anything anyway. So, and if damage starts to happen, trees could be going down, could block roadways, could knock power lines down, knock power out. So it'll make the dark situation that much more dark, and you won't be able to see much. So again, folks, dangerous storm moving across Morehouse Parish at this time. And again, Bonita right now is one of the communities that we're really keeping an eye out on, as that area of circulation is in this vicinity. You're seeing New Landgrove Landing right there. I think you folks are okay. But again, the Bonita community, and then now eventually getting into points north and eastward as this area of circulation continues to pass through. Again, National Weather Service was confirming a tornado with this. At least at one point, we were picking up some debris being lofted by one of their radar products, in addition to what we were seeing on our end was a pretty tight velocity couplet. So again, a dangerous storm, and we're coming up to about the 8 o'clock hour now. So again, warning goes into effect till about 8:15, and I know we have a tornado watch in effect till 8 o'clock, which is...
Still haven't heard anything about that.
But yeah, that'll be wrapping up soon, but I don't believe we've seen any more issued. But again, we're just kind of...
Looks almost like it's taking that backward C, like damaging wind potential, like it's kind of gusting out again, which it did that earlier. And then it spawned another, now it spawned the confirmed tornado that we have now. So, like I said, don't want to fall asleep on it.
And that's the thing, we've been talking about this through the night now several times, is that these storms can cycle. They can breathe in and out, sometimes spin up a tornado, and then sometimes they can briefly take a break, and then spin up another one. So again, kind of what Jared was saying, this is taking on more of a damaging straight line wind threat as they kind of get that backward seat.
Real quick, my apologies. Our digital media department is reporting now that on Facebook Live that there are trees down along Shelton Road in Bastrop. Shelton Road, the Shelton community, those are the areas that we were talking about earlier. So this storm has produced damage. Whether it's tornado damage or not, we don't know. And that's not our job right now. But this storm now has a history of producing damage. So whether it be tornadic damage or damaging wind damage, there it is.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point I was talking about just a second ago, was that, you know, if you're wanting to see this, again, you shouldn't be out looking at this storm. Again, if you're in this area, it's dark, you need to be making sure you're in your tornado safe place. But the amount of trees and things like that out there, you're not going to be able to see it anyway. And as the storm continues to cause damage, it could block your path to even see it. So
latest update message still has that tornado near Galleon moving east at 40.
Okay.
So same general area from earlier. No longer a tornado debris signature, but like I said, this is more of a damaging wind signature at this point, but could spawn a tornado really at any point.
Yeah,
considering how strong that structure is, could easily spin back up. When the tornado warning, if the tornado warning is canceled, we're done with your programming. But as long as that warning's out, we're going to stay here.
Yeah, and it looks like now Galleon's kind of out of that tornado warning. It looks like they just updated it as well. So
no longer radar confirmed either. So it's radar indicated at this point. So they can't confirm that the tornado is still on the ground. That's just kind of point of clarification for our viewers.
So yeah, it's encouraging news to see that the storm, you know, is kind of taking a breather here, maybe starting to slack off in intensity. It's a good sign, but again, as Jared mentioned, we're going to be staying on air. We got about 20 minutes or so, and again, National Weather Service in Jackson could drop this warning prematurely if trends continue, if the storm kind of starts to wind down here as it moves towards the north and east. So, and they may just go with a severe thunderstorm warning downstream that would continue into portions of southern Arkansas, and it looks like it would be eastern portions of Ashley County and even Chico County here. But those folks are not in a warning, at least at this time. Well, at least the severe thunderstorm warning kind of goes up into Ashley and Drew counties in southern Arkansas. But again, we're going to continue to watch it, folks. Again, we're staying on air for this tornado warning officially here, and looks like this storm at least exhibiting signs more of a damaging straight line wind threat now as opposed to a tornadic threat, but nonetheless, that possible area of circulation moving now just to the east of Bonita, and those folks will be out in the clear here not too long.
Brian, I'm watching that area east of Bonita along Shuck Road, south of Dummy Line Road. This is just southeast of 165. Obviously, 165 goes through Bonita. It's that area that you're kind of centered on right now. There is a weak couplet there, again, kind of in a tricky spot. But if there was a possible tornado, that's kind of where I would have it pegged right now.
Right about here is where he's talking about, just east of 165.
Emergency managers now in Morehouse Parish are reporting trees were blown down, a home was damaged with residents trapped inside and possibly injured. This is uncertain, but this was during the tornado debris signature being evident on radar 4 miles northeast of Bastrop.
Okay.
We will try to give you as many updates or updates later on in the evening as they're provided to us. But that's all the information we have right now. Obviously, Morehouse Parish in and around some of the communities that were impacted by the possible confirmed tornado on the ground a little bit earlier.
So yeah, now as Jared mentioned, damage reports starting to come in, and again, at least there is encouraging news with this storm that it seems to be maybe losing intensity somewhat. Still a very dangerous storm though as it continues to move towards the northeast. Now I would say the Bonita community pretty much in the clear from this area of circulation that we're watching, and is now on the southern and eastern sides of 165. Here it is for reference. Here you can see there's 165, and here's where that possible area of rotation is. Again, the storm system exhibiting more of a damaging straight line wind kind of signature here, though, as it continues to move off towards the north and east. But nonetheless, tornado warning still will remain in effect till about 8:15 tonight, and we're going to remain on air until this warning is officially dropped.
And still seeing, and kind of want to draw this out and kind of try to make some sense out of the overall storm structure that we're seeing here. And in general, what we mean by damaging wind signatures is you can kind of see these darker reds. My apologies. Thought I turned the telestrator on. There we go. You can see these darker reds back there. That's kind of that little backward C that we talk about, where this storm is surging out and it's starting to see some stronger winds on the leading edge here. Well, this is all about to get messed up, the point that I was about to drive home. Well, maybe not. But the point that I'm trying to drive home is when we switch over to velocities mode, and you look at the winds from this particular area, they kind of carve out in the same area. But on the northern edge, there's this little area here, and then on the southern edge, there's this little area here. And while these storms sometimes will gust out, and a part of the segment of this storm will surge out ahead of the rest of it, well, think about when you take your arm through a swimming pool and you just brush through the water. If you surge through it, it'll start spinning the water on the top edge, and it'll start spinning the water on the bottom edge where your arm has went through the top of that swimming pool. Well, that's kind of the same general physics that we're thinking about here. As that gust really surges out from the bulk of that thunderstorm, on the northern edge you could get a little spin, on the southern edge you could get a little spin. So while we say that the storm is kind of cycling and it's kind of recharging and it's taking kind of a break, if you will, taking a breather, there's still the outside chance of an isolated tornado in any of these areas, but also along with that, the damaging wind gust potential in this area is also going to be very, very concerning. Time is 8 o'clock, or we're approaching 8 o'clock. You're watching severe weather coverage on KTVE and KARD, and again, we're interrupting a lot of popular programming, and I know that is very frustrating, but as long as there's a tornado warning on in our area, we're going to have to stay with it. Again, that's just the safety policy. Life and property are more important than television shows. Those shows can be seen tomorrow or the next day on the Peacock app or NBC.com or the Fox website, and we don't want you to miss that, but unfortunately that's just the cards we've been dealt this evening. This storm right here now has a history of wind damage in western Morehouse Parish. It has we have a tree down on a residence. There is the possibility that folks could be trapped. We don't know, and so I don't want to alarm folks in this area, but again, this is a storm that has a history of producing wind damage, and starting to see that area of rotation kind of rear its ugly head again, now east of Bonita, east of 165. This area right here is kind of what I'm talking about. There's another area back up here too, still in a really, for lack of a better term, kind of funky spot in northeastern sections of Morehouse Parish. So for those folks in this area, you've been in your safe place for a while now. You've been under this warning for about the past 30 minutes. Warning goes for another 15. Interior portion of your home away from windows and doors. Yes, we're repeating ourselves. We know that. That's the goal. A lot of people are getting home from dinner, getting home from ball practice. They've been streaming Netflix or something like that and got the alert on their phone and went to a local television station. And so for those that are just tuning in, a lot of folks will just get the information they need, tune right back out. That's fine. But really just want folks to get the basics of the information. The tornado warning in effect, southeastern sections of Ashley County, northeastern sections of Morehouse Parish, right along 165, an interest now east of 165, east of Bonita. This is where a possible tornado would reside. Damaging wind signature stretches all the way through this leading line right now as it continues to surge to the northeast. If you're in these areas, whether it's damaging wind potential or tornado potential, treat it as a tornado. On nights like tonight, damaging wind gusts can be just as destructive as a tornado. We can get straight line wind gusts 75, 80 miles an hour. That's stronger than an EF0 tornado in many instances. I'm not saying that this would be an EF0. I'm just saying that straight line winds can cause a lot of widespread damage. So if you're in these areas, please be in your safe place now. Radar's doing its normal check and calibrations, and we'll get to all that in a minute, but there's our possible circulation, a little bit jumbled up as it moves now closer to the state line. We've got West Carroll Parish over here. You folks are under a warning right now. Keep an eye on this storm, especially as it continues to move eastward. Wilmot, you're still under this tornado warning as well. Be in your safe place. Wait till the all clear is sounded. And while we're on that note, and speaking of all clears, I want to zoom back out just for a second and take just our brief focus out across the rest of the region. And you can see really that aside from this complex of storms in this general area, there's not a whole lot out there for us. So this severe weather threat is really confined to the areas that we're seeing right now across Morehouse Parish and Ashley County. And hopefully, if this storm were to collapse or kind of outrun its better environment, or perhaps the cold front gets undercut a little bit, undercuts this storm a little bit, then we could see it kind of collapse and weaken. But we're still watching this area right here for possible rotation, and still getting this contaminated area here in southern sections of Ashley County, and that could be that northern edge kind of bookend where the surge is starting to kind of run off and leave, and it leaves that little spin behind along 165 in southern Ashley County. We'll watch that. I'm not saying that there's a tornado imminent in these areas, but watch it. It's in the warning area. You need to be in your safe place anyway. But that is obviously a concerning spot. Our radar, again, as I mentioned, will get a new swipe about every 60 seconds on this storm. It is doing its calibration cycle right now, so I'm not going to switch to a different radar mode. It's going to get the best look when it comes back. There it is. And like I said, damaging wind signatures here. Could see some small hail. This is not really a big hail-producing storm. This is going to be winds, possibility of a tornado, very heavy rainfall. I want to check the lightning on it real quick to see what kind of lightning we're looking at, because the lightning is a very strong indicator of if you've got a lot of lightning, it usually means the storm's kind of thriving and maturing. If the lightning count starts to kind of fall off, and that's kind of what's happening here, that's usually sometimes an indicator that you're kind of hitting a quiet spot in the evening. Not a lot of local storm reports out there. I was hoping to kind of pick up some, but there really aren't any out there right now. And as those storm reports are issued, they'll populate on our screen. We'll bring you any updates from those. But that area right here in southern Ashley County is still very concerning. I want to get this last radar swipe here so we can get back to it. For those just joining us, this is about the 6th tornado warning, I believe, of the day. And we've had
new tornado warning coming. There will be a new downstream tornado warning on this storm.
All right, so we will stay with this tornado warning as I'm assuming Chico County, Ashley and Chico County?
They haven't specified. It looks like, for Chico County, for just Chico County, East Carroll, and West Carroll parishes until 9 o'clock. All
right. I'm still looking at this area near Wilmot. That's concerning, but like I said, our radar's going through a lot of junk to see this area, and so you can see the warning has now been extended. This is the new tornado warning. It goes till 9 o'clock for portions of East and West Carroll parishes, Ashley and Chico counties in southeast Arkansas. So again, we're going to probably hang with this till 9 o'clock at least on both stations. So for folks that again are missing the programming, it stinks. We hate it too. But as long as there's folks in danger, we're going to stay on the air with this stuff and just continue to rehash the same information. Yes, we know we're repeating. Is there a way we could scroll just crawls at the bottom of the screen? Yes, but nobody reads those. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Studies have shown nobody reads that crawl at the bottom of the screen. So we're going to stay here and continue to update you with the latest. I still think this possible tornado is in the Wilmot area. Like, this storm has reformed again. There's still an area of rotation here too. But here, all moving northeast. And in fact, I think this area back deeper into the warning polygon is the more concerning spot at this point. Just now north of Dummy Line Road, here's Doles Road, Haynes Road, Dogwood Drive over here, Sunshine Road here, here's the Fisk community. As we start getting into eastern sections of Morehouse Parish and West Carroll Parish, it's a really jumbled up radar depiction. I mean, Brian, this is a really tough spot. And it's frustrating for us because there's a lot of folks that are needing information. They're going, where? This general area right here, folks. That's about the best we can do. I don't want to get too specific and have folks go, oh, okay, we're in the clear, and they stop paying attention, and then they get hit by a tornado. That defeats the whole purpose of what we're doing. So, again, if you're in these flashing red boxes, you need to be in your safe place. We've seen this storm recycle and take on kind of different makeups and look very different at times. We had a gusty wind threat It's been a tornado threat. It's had a history of producing a tornado. We have damage in western sections of Morehouse Parish. For those that are just joining us, this was a confirmed tornado on the ground at one point. We cannot say that with any confidence now. In fact, it's radar indicated as this possible tornado now approaches the Lark communities. Here is the McGinty community. 165 is on the far left-hand side of your screen. Here's the Kimball community, and there's our possible tornado. Should be moving and crossing the state line into southern Arkansas. Brian, probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes, and that other area of rotation also concerning in the surrounding areas.
Yeah, and the storm movements with this have been pretty fast throughout the night tonight, so you know, that's also encouraging too, is that these storms will eventually clear our area here in the next, I would say, probably 1 to 2 hours at the least. So again, at least right now, though, this storm not tracking a confirmed tornado. Again, National Weather Service is not confirming a tornado, at least with this particular warning. But again, this area of circulation that continues to move towards the northeast now covers mainly
Brian,
extreme.
Just to interrupt you for a second, you're going to drive this for a second while I go relay this to the newsroom. But I'm getting messages now from folks saying that there are a lot of folks hurt off Shelton Road, and that it's not a very good scenario. So just the damage reports from Shelton Road are becoming quite frequent. Just again, this storm has a history of producing wind and or tornado damage.
So again, yeah, at this time, it's a little too early to confirm exactly what kind of mode of severe weather produced that damage. But Jared mentioned we're going to continue to relay the damage reports into our area as we get it. But it sounds like the Shelton Road area took a pretty hard hit from this severe thunderstorm in some way, shape, or form. But we're working to get more details on that from you, at least, or for you at least. So at least right now, it's, again, we've been kind of talking about this too over and over again, that this is in a really tough spot to try to see what exactly is going on with this storm. So I would say anywhere from about Wilmot to northern portions of Morehouse Parish, West and East Carroll parishes, and even portions of Chico County. Eudora, you need to get into your tornado safe place immediately. The Kilburn community, you need to get into your safe place immediately. Again, Wilmot, hopefully you're there. But again, folks, this storm has a history of producing damage and even producing possible injuries. So please do not take this lightly. Make sure you're getting into your safe places and adjusting for that. Again, this storm has a history of being dangerous, and it continues to push off towards the northeast. Here's the Mississippi River for reference here. So once these storms clear the Mississippi, then we can send you back to your regularly scheduled programming. But again, we will stay on the air as this tornado warning continues. Again, it goes till 9 o'clock, and right now, at least where we're looking at is kind of this area between Wilmot and Kilburn, and it's very, very messy. It's right along the state line of Louisiana and Arkansas at this time. Folks in Eudora, especially, you have plenty of time to get your tornado safe place. So if you know folks in Eudora, let them know that, hey, a dangerous storm that's capable of producing a tornado heading your way. Also to Kilburn, you folks need to be getting into your safe place. Same thing. If you know folks in the Kilburn community, let them know that a dangerous storm is heading their way. And again, this area of circulation that's getting kind of muddled in the radar image continues to move off towards the north and east. I'm going to flip it back to a more conventional radar image here, kind of give you perspective. And we do have a little bit better view of this compared to the National Weather Service, just because our radar is more centered towards the storm. Usually that radar beam gets curved. They don't have very good eyes, and this is notorious for a radar hole right here. So we do have a pretty good look at it. But even with that being said, it still gets messy. There's a lot of trees, some hills. So again, a dangerous storm nonetheless, and it's all wrapped in rain at the very least. So folks, please don't try to go out there, try to look at it. And again, just make sure you're getting in your tornado safe place. Again, here's the Mississippi River. This is encouraging news. And once it passes, it's officially out of our area, and then we can send you back to that regularly scheduled programming. But again, this warning remains in effect till about 9 o'clock tonight. So again, really the areas of concern, I believe that's Highway 65. I'm going to look at this, step off the screen real quick. And yes, that's Highway 65. If you know people traveling along that, give them a call, let them know that a dangerous storm is heading their way. But at least for the most concerning, looks like Wilmot community now, this area of circulation starting to push towards the east of you. So folks in Wilmot, a little bit more in the clear. I would just ride it out for a few more minutes and then you can come out of your tornado safe place. But folks in Eudora need to be taking shelter at this time. Anywhere from Eudora to Kilburn. And again, it's right along the state line of Louisiana and Arkansas. So again, you folks need to be getting into your tornado safe place at this time. Now primarily moving into Chico County as it starts to kind of get out of Louisiana. It's going to be scraping northern portions of West and East Carroll parishes here. But at least right now, I would say East Carroll Parish is where the northern East Carroll Parish is where people need to be staying in their safe places, and southern Chico County. So again, this warning goes into effect. It stays in effect until about 9 o'clock tonight. So folks, make sure you're taking your necessary tornado precautions as this dangerous storm continues to move through. I'm going to see if there's any sort of updates from the National Weather Service to pass along here real quickly. And let's see. Okay, it looks like we do have a possible another tornado debris signature along Zonbrecker Road. I'm going to see if I can zoom in on this a little bit, and I very much apologize if I butchered the pronunciation on it, but I'm going to zoom in and see if we can pull this up. I can point it out here at least on our radar. And this clicker. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to see if I can find the road that they were talking about. But nonetheless, it looks like another possible tornado debris signature is pulled up. So again, folks, take this warning seriously. This tornado warning, it can produce a tornado at any point. And again, folks need to be in their tornado safe place as this dangerous storm now kind of moves out of looks like it's kind of moving more into southern Arkansas as opposed to northern Louisiana.
There was an indicator earlier from the National Weather Service of a possible tornado debris signature along Zonbrecker Road.
Yeah, I just
okay,
yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. I was outside of the studio when you were talking about that. So again, this general area for folks that are sending. I've got 4 or 5 emails. Just I'm going through storm reports in our emails. We got a lot of those. There's a lot of folks complaining about missing their programming. It stinks. I know it. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I've already thrown a hissy fit over it. We're going to stay on the air with these tornado warnings. We have injuries, possible injuries in western Morehouse Parish. We have damage in Morehouse Parish. In and around Bastrop, off the Shelton Road area, we're getting a lot of reports from these areas. This storm right here has a history of wind damage and tornado damage. So we're going to stay with it, even if it doesn't look like it's possibly producing a tornado at this very second. As long as there's a warning with it, we're going to have to stay with it. So again, patience. I know that it's frustrating. It's frustrating for us too, but that's where we are right now. Those are the cards we've been dealt. We're going to stay with the storm. Go ahead, Brian.
Right. And again, it's kind of more encouraging news is that it is getting very close to the Mississippi River. So once the area of circulation passes and these storms are kind of out of our hair, then we can send you back to your programming as well. But as mentioned, we're going to continue to stay on and provide life-saving information as long as we need to. So again, it's about just after 8:15, and again, at least the area of circulation. I'm going to pull back up our velocity image again and see if we can see anything on our.
We're going to be hard pressed to see it now because now this storm's starting to move farther and farther away from our radar site.
Still a little bit, though. You can kind of decipher where a possible tornado would be. Roughly, it looks like now the Kilburn community, you folks definitely need to be in your tornado safe place. Now, we were mentioning it earlier, but it's right along the Louisiana-Arkansas border. If you know folks in the Kilburn community, again, tell them that they need to get in their tornado safe place immediately. That's where this area would be. Again, we don't have the best eyes on it right now.
In fact, Brian, why don't you step back off screen for a second? I'm going to turn off the hand tracker. You can keep talking, but I'm going to switch radar modes for us for just a quick second and go back to a different VCP so we can maybe get a better look at this storm.
But yeah, that area of where that possible tornado would be. Again, at least right now, I would say at least extreme northern portions of West Carroll Parish, heading into Chico County, into southern Arkansas right now, and eventually will be passing into southern Chico County here, and then eventually getting east of the river here shortly.
Your hand tracker's back on. Go ahead.
All right, so again, this is where that possible area of circulation would be.
Brian, I don't want to get too specific. This is not a confirmed storm spotter report, but we do have a confirmed possible tornado just southeast of Wilmot. And again, this is unconfirmed. This is an unconfirmed spotter sighting in this area. So again, don't want to get too hyper specific, and that was actually a few minutes ago from the Wilmot area. So that possible area of rotation on the northern edge may have been producing a tornado this entire time. So that would be this area here, moving right along. I believe this is Highway 82. Yes, along Highway 82, 52. At least that's what it says right there. There's Highway 52. There's our possible tornado. Here's County Road 5, Lafourche Lake Road, County Road 224. A lot of roads in Ashley County, but this is the area right here that, in theory, would have had a tornado with it earlier in its life cycle. And when I say earlier, I'm talking about probably 5 to 10 minutes ago, and I just turned off that radar mode to switch back in. So this would be the area right here that we're seeing a possible tornado. Again, this storm has a history of producing significant damage in the Shelton Road areas just north and northwest of Bastrop. And for all intents and purposes, from what we can gather, this storm still has the possibility of producing wind damage, maybe tornadic damage, as it moves into southern sections of Ashley County. For a lot of areas right along the Mississippi River, this is the Mississippi River. So this will be crossing out of our viewing area probably in the next half hour or so, and or at least the next 45 minutes or so. And also, from what I've gathered, National Weather Service has allowed for, or the Storm Prediction Center has allowed for, our tornado watch to expire. So there's no longer a tornado watch in the area. It's really just this one storm that's causing all the headaches. And it's this possible tornado now here to the north of and to the northwest of Highway 65, and it will be moving into Chico County, or actually just now moving into Chico County and out of Ashley County, and should again move into the southern portions of Chico County, maybe northern sections of West Carroll and East Carroll parishes. But again, at this point, it's so too tough to really indicate possible tornadoes and things of that nature when the radar has just got so much going on in this area. And as a reminder, our radar is trying to see this activity, but it's also running into a really tough spot in terms of its overall kind of coverage, and we're hitting pretty high up in this storm. So I've switched radar modes, and it should switch back over here in about 3 minutes or so, and we'll get another look at this storm. Really, southern Ashley County, still a damaging wind signature stretching all the way to the south near Oak Grove. Those are areas that are concerning as well. And also of note, for folks that are maybe in the clear for severe weather, we do have a crew on the way to Morehouse Parish to survey and not survey, but look at the damage and report the damage that we see on Shelton Road. We will hopefully have that tonight on Fox 14 News at 9 and on NBC 10 News at 10. But in the short term, this is the storm that produced all that damage and still has a possible tornado associated with it. Brian, any notes from the Weather Service on this? Again, it's in a really, really tough spot radar-wise, and I know I keep repeating that because we're going to stay on with this tornado warning as long as the warning's issued. Even though, like I said earlier, there may not be a tornado that we can visibly just see and go, there it is right there. We're staying with this just so folks get the information. This tornado warning goes till 9 o'clock. If it is canceled early, we'll send you back to your programming. We have plowed through 2 hours worth of programming, and again, we've heard about it. We know what shows are on right now, and we know what people are missing, and we don't like it either, but this is the job that we're going to do, and we're going to keep doing it. There's our possible tornado right there, now kind of, like I said, north of the state line, moving into central sections of Chico County, and will continue to advance eastward rather rapidly. Again, the Mississippi River here, so this will be crossing out of the viewing area probably in the next 45 minutes or so. Warning goes till 9, so that kind of all jives together. There's Eudora. We had that possible tornado near Wilmot earlier. This is that same circulation crawling to the north and east. So if you're in these areas, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in real close just in case this is our tornado. East of the Empire community, here's Ross Van Ness, here's Ball Road, here's County Road 224, here's Oyster Road, and this is our possible tornado right here. Reds and greens combined together, kind of a jumbled up image as all of this moves east, showing the twisting of the winds within this thunderstorm. For folks along Ball Road or moving into so Gum Corners up here, and here's the King Road area, Schuler Road. We're moving out of Ashley County deeper into Chico County. There's Eudora back behind me. If you're in these areas, proper tornado precautions. Again, Ashley County, you're no longer in this warning. It's really now from northern West and East Carroll parishes, far northern East and West Carroll parishes. It does not include Oak Grove. It does not include Transylvania. It does not include Lake Providence. It's really mainly now for the bulk of Chico County. We'll be crossing 65 probably in the next 20 minutes or so. You got a lot of lead time ahead of this possible tornado in this area. Again, don't have a history. This is still a radar indicated tornado. Still updating new messages from the National Weather Service in Jackson, but it's that area right there, moving generally north of 55 or 52, excuse me. Lafourche Lake Road, Ball Road, 224, and again the Ross Van Ness community, and there's Highway 65 right here on, right here that cuts up into Eudora. Time's 8:24. For those that are just joining us, Tornado Watch has been allowed to expire. It's been, I don't believe that it's been locally extended anywhere. If it has, I've missed it. But like I said, I think the tornado warning was allowed to expire. The Tornado Watch was allowed to expire. We have this one active tornado warning. For those that are kind of wondering, you know, what the rest of the night looks like, this is really it. In all intents and purposes. Now the radar is switching over to a different mode, so hopefully we get a better look at this storm as it moves into portions of Chico County. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, nothing really to update on as far as National Weather Service reports. Yeah,
and like I said, this is a tough spot, and if there's nothing to report, there's nothing to report. And yeah, there's our reds and greens moving toward Eudora. A little bit more of a messy radar depiction right now, but still seeing those reds and greens. We'll be crossing 65 shortly. It is a rather contaminated radar image, but obviously still a very dangerous storm. Safe place now if you're in southern Chico County. Again, hopefully the storm will be exiting the Arklamis in the next 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, so the time is now about 8:25, and again, we've been tracking this storm in particular for quite a while now, almost, I'd say the last almost 2 hours, roughly. But generally, this storm continues to push towards the northeast, and it is moving quickly. Here's the Mississippi River, so now it's knocking on the door, but affecting the Eudora community right now on Highway 65. So if you know folks traveling along Highway 65, give them a phone call, let them know that a dangerous storm is moving through. Just check on them, make sure that they're okay. And if you know folks that are traveling through, again, it extends down into Kilburn, and will continue to eventually push through. But again, cannot emphasize this enough. This storm has had history of producing damage in some way, shape, or form, whether it's tornado or straight line winds. And really, it doesn't matter at this point. They are equally capable of producing life-threatening damage. So folks, take this warning seriously. Make sure you're in your tornado safe place. And again, yeah, folks, just again, I know we keep repeating ourselves and we keep trampling over programming, but we're going to continue to stay on air as long as we need to provide this life-saving information. So kind of the Grand Lake community is another one, the Reedland community, the Indian community, the Welford community. It's where that area of circulation. Again, here's the Mississippi River, so we are buttoned up right against our viewing area here. The Gassaway community looks to be one. The Milliken community, the Chickasaw community is kind of on the southern end of it, but it's just a large area of rotation. And again, our eyes, at least as far as the radar is concerned, kind of blinded. We're kind of in one of those radar holes, and we're getting away from our live storm tracker Doppler radar. So this is it's kind of tricky to see. But again, you folks, if you're getting a tornado warning in this area, again, we want to stress this enough. Just take it seriously and just play it safe. Make sure you're getting in your tornado safe place.
Your strongest rotation is still just southwest of Eudora.
So, yeah.
It's that little lobe right there to the southwest that coincides with everything. And like I said, we're hitting that right now at about 5,100 feet, which is pretty high in the atmosphere. So that's elevated rotation. And like I said, we're just saying that, but real quickly, and you won't have hand tracker for this, if we could pop over to links 2 real quick. This is the shear product from our radar. And again, that is a huge area of at least damaging wind potential. In the brighter greens, that's rotation that could be indicating a possible tornado. So again, actually, excuse me, that's the shear rate from the Jackson radar. Our shear rate is not showing anything. So that, again, gives you a general idea of where the best potential for damaging wind gusts would be. Now you can go back over to links 1 and you can continue to hand track what we got going on.
But yeah, nonetheless, even if a tornado is not in progress, damaging straight line winds will certainly be an issue as this storm passes through. It's also dark now.
It's now observed. We have a tornado debris signature along the state line west of Kilburn.
Okay. So this area right here, they just trimmed the warning back too to kind of represent that. But right along just to the east and north of that, that's where that tornado debris signature that Jared was just talking about, that's where it is.
Radar confirmed tornado near Gassaway, 7 miles southwest of Eudora.
Okay, I was just showing the gas right here.
Yep, there it is.
Right there. Right there. So again, if you know folks in the Gassaway community, points north, again, this is going to be crossing the Mississippi River here fairly shortly. But Highway 65, I believe, yes, Highway 65 runs through that. So again, if you know folks traveling near Gassaway, near Highway 65, in extreme northern portions of, that's East Carroll Parish?
That's actually going to technically be East Carroll Parish.
East Carroll Parish into Chico County. Again, this is a radar-confirmed tornado with this particular storm.
Got the debris signature on links 2 east of South Archer Street. Now, this is obviously going to be a slightly delayed debris signature. Cody, if you guys want to go to links, there's links 2. There's your debris signature. In the same general area, Kilburn, Gassaway. This is just east of South Archer Street. Again, north of Doss Loop and the Arkla Road, which is, again, basically just state line road. So that what we're looking at here, and for folks that are on air, this is the debris signature. Obviously, the tornado is now east of that area because that's a delayed image. And so the tornado itself has now moved east of that area. So let's go to links 1 very quickly. Thank you very much, guys. Our production guys are doing an awesome job today. There's our possible tornado. Our debris signature was in this area right over here. Here's South Archer. There was our debris signature. Here's our possible tornado now moving, confirmed tornado, excuse me, that is now moving to the northeast, south of Reedland. Here's Highway 65, so we're now east of that. Here's the Mississippi River. So we're almost, this confirmed tornado will be crossing the Mississippi River probably in the next 20 minutes. But I cannot stress this enough. We're going to hang with this until that sucker crosses the Mississippi River because we want to make sure that these folks on Levee Road and in the outlying areas of far southeastern Chico County get the information they need. Give them a call. Shoot a text message. Hey, there's a tornado, confirmed tornado on the ground headed your way. There's been a history of damage. We have folks in Morehouse Parish that have sustained significant damage, and we have crews en route there. So this has been a very active night. A lot of trees down, some structural damage reported too. Of course, we're getting dark now, so it's getting even more difficult to see any potential damage. But this is, again, a radar-indicated tornado. It has a radar-confirmed tornado. It has shown debris being lofted in the air as you approach Levee Drive or Levee Road. And again, we'll be crossing the Mississippi River. Here's the Mississippi River, and we move into adjacent sections of Mississippi here in the next, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes. To be honest with you, I don't think this tornado warning is going to make it to 9. I think it'll end probably at about 8:45, if not even sooner than that. We're going to follow it with every scan until this area of rotation's moved out and the tornado warning has been trimmed to not include any portions of Chico County. Elsewhere, we've checked the tornado debris signatures. Shreveport's radar wasn't going to pick up anything. We don't have access to the ULM's radar, so really Jackson's the only thing we could run off of. Is that debris signature still there on links?
Subtly, but it's not as pronounced as it was before.
Okay, so it may have dropped, lifted, may drop again. There's your possible tornado, and just to give you an update on the roads, there's Levee Road, here's Reedland, here's Grand Lake, and again, here's your possible tornado. But although I say that, there's a very large jumbled area of rotation that's kind of sandwiched in here that includes pretty much everyone. So if you're in this warning, in the flashing red box, just play it safe. Go to your safe place, interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. For those that have been watching us for the last couple of hours, this is really the one lone severe thunderstorm in our area. Yes, we do have other thunderstorm activity, but it's not severe. And as soon as this warning crosses out of our area, we'll send you back to your programming. Yes, we've stepped on a lot of it. You've missed a lot of shows tonight. That's frustrating. It's frustrating for us too. But it is what it is. And this is a tornado warning that will continue to advance northeastward. Hollandale and a lot of the adjacent sections of Mississippi will be impacted soon. But as soon as this thing crosses the Mississippi River, we will start wrapping up our programming, at least for the time being, unless a new warning is issued. But there's our possible tornado. It should be crossing the Mississippi River, but we still have these areas of rotation. We'll wait until this warning kind of gets trimmed to no longer include Chico County before we send anything back. But for folks in Kilburn and far northern reaches of East Carroll Parish, probably want to be in your safe place anyway. Still some gusty wind signatures with this storm as it makes its way toward the Mississippi River. Back out to the southwest, there's not a lot of rotation. There may be some wind gust potential, especially considering that the front is starting to push a lot of these storms as they move off to the east. That will probably evolve and become more of a concern as we head through the next few hours. Would you agree, Brian?
Yeah, I think as these storms continue to push towards the east, hopefully the tornado threat, I mean, we're not under a watch anymore, so conditions really shouldn't be favorable for tornadic activity, but again, maybe some of these storms may produce possible, damaging winds in the meantime. And I mean, it's not completely ruled out that we could maybe see another tornado warning, but again, at least it looks like the ingredients are starting to limit, at least, well, they should through the night. At least in the short term, though, we're still tracking this storm. Yep,
still right along the Mississippi. And it's kind of a broad area of rotation. Southeast of Eudora, along and just east of Highway 65, we'll be crossing the Mississippi River rather shortly in these areas. But the warning still stretches all the way back to the west, and we'll probably need a new update status message from the National Weather Service in Jackson to update the position of this possible tornado and also to trim some areas out of the tornado warning as it continues to advance east. Now really kind of marching right along the Mississippi Valley. Northern sections of East Carroll Parish still probably seeing some damaging winds. This does not include, as I mentioned, Lake Providence, does not include Transylvania. Does not include Oak Grove. The Eudora area is starting to quiet down. We've had some damage, or we had an unconfirmed report of a tornado in and around Wilmot a little bit earlier with this storm. So again, that's why we are staying with this even more aggressively, simply because there is a history of wind damage. We don't have confirmed reports of injuries. I've had a few messages saying there are people injured, but we don't have law enforcement confirming that yet. So I don't want to jump the gun and really alarm people for no reason if it's just not true. Like I said, we'll hopefully have more information from that tonight on Fox 14 News at 9, which starts in about 20 minutes, and NBC 10 News at 10. That starts obviously in about an hour and 20 minutes. But as this area of reds and greens, still very jumbled and very disorganized, starts to cross the Mississippi River, this will likely really bring an end to the more significant severe weather potential, at least here for the rest of the evening. We do have another severe weather threat late Friday night into early Saturday that we'll keep an eye on as well. But we'll talk more about that once this threat ends. Tornado warning still in effect till 9 o'clock. Eastern sections of Chico County does include far northern sections of West and East Carroll parishes, although it's really more of a damaging wind signature in these areas. This really does not spell tornado to me right now. And in fact, I want to back back off the screen briefly. As you see, look at this flashing box, and now even starting to see that elevated tornado debris signature kind of sneaking back in, but that looks to be right along Levee Road and is crossing east rather quickly. So like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this observed confirmed tornado is now out of our viewing area, or is at least in the process of it. Yeah, the debris signature is right along Levee Road.
It's talking about right about here, roughly.
Yeah.
In this vicinity. So yeah, again, this warning officially goes till about 9 o'clock. I would imagine that the National Weather Service will trim it here probably about 5-ish minutes or so.
Yeah, somewhere, hopefully. Like I said, I can't really see a tornado signature that would extend this warning much farther than maybe, like I said, 8:40, 8:45. It will not last until 9 in our area. I don't see that happening. The storm itself, the overall structure is just not what it was 20 minutes ago, or 15 minutes ago when it was an observed tornado on the ground. It just looks a little different, looks a little bit more disorganized, and it looks like the southern edge of that storm has really kind of taken all the ingredients and ran with them. And this storm now crossing the Mississippi River as we speak. So a little bit of good news there. Clearly, this has been an active night in terms of tornado warnings popping up. We had our first ones about 4 o'clock this afternoon, about 4:20 this afternoon. We had some till 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. We had this one pop up about, 6:50, about a quarter to 7 o'clock, and we've had numerous tornado warnings since. And so, like I said, we're going to just kind of double check that this one has cleared the Mississippi River, and the tornado debris signature is still there, Brian. In fact, if you want to pop up links 2 briefly, and I will, that's a lofted, it's very lofted, elevated debris, but also keep in mind the National Weather Service radar is shooting very, very high up at this point. So that means that debris is probably 6,000 feet in the air. That's
strong. That's strong.
That's usually a pretty strong signature that that there was a tornado that hit and has been, hurling debris into the sky.
Yeah.
So I hope that drives the point home for folks that this storm has a history of wind damage. It is a very dangerous storm. Hopefully it has not been a deadly storm. We don't have any confirmation of any injuries or anything like that. Chico County is still included in this newest tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Eudora, moving northeast at 50. Even since the status message, I think that this storm has kind of crawled east and will be out of our hair very, very shortly. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised, if we can go back over to links 1, I wouldn't be surprised if they keep Chico County in this tornado warning till 9, and we don't even stay with this tornado warning till 9, because there's our possible tornado there and crossing the Mississippi River here shortly. So like I said, I can give this another 2 or 3 minutes as it firmly and completely crosses out of our area and into adjacent sections of Mississippi. Again, Levee Road, here's the Mississippi River. This storm is technically in adjacent sections of Mississippi, and I actually feel pretty comfortable going ahead and sending things back to programming right now, considering that this storm has now exited the Arklamis and is moving into adjacent sections of Mississippi. So, zoom back out. This is the bird's eye view of the radar. We're going to send you back to your regularly scheduled programming. We apologize